My name is Gavin Evans, and I just saw Spiral from the Book of Saw. Now, I've been very intrigued by this movie ever since I heard Chris Rock had an idea. So he went to Lionsgate, he pitched them this idea, and now the movie's made. And I was very curious about that because Chris Rock is such an odd choice for a new Saw movie. And on top of that, we've seen so many great comedians go over and make great horror movies in the past few years. Whether it be Jordan Peele with Get Out or John Krasinski with A Quiet Place, I wanted to see what Chris Rock would bring to the Saw franchise. And what he brings is a really solid idea. This movie actually has stuff to say. It reminds me of Saw 6 in that way. There's actually a message underlining the entire movie. And it's not subtle, it's loud and clear, but I think it's actually still really effective. Everything from the main character to the villain to the overall story, everything is tied around one idea, and that one idea is really based around corrupt cops. And the way the movie explores that, I found to add something very unique and fresh to this franchise. I seem to be in the minority when I say this, but I don't think this movie feels like any other movie in the Saw franchise, because the other Saw movies are strictly torture porn. This is definitely a buddy cop police investigation movie, and I really like that angle. It does help freshen up the franchise, and yes, there's definitely brutal, bloody moments. But in the majority of the movie, this is a police investigation movie. I also found the overall mystery to be really engaging. I was trying to figure out who's behind it all. Is it this person? Is it this person? And I actually do found that after a while that the movie did start to show a bit too much, and there was definitely a scene where something happens and I thought it was a dead giveaway to who it was, but I still enjoyed the ride up until then. The traps in this movie, however, I was surprised. Like, I know I shouldn't be surprised, but I was kind of surprised at how brutal and just gnarly they were. There was a few moments where I'm just like, oh, that's gross, and I was just like there was kids in my theaters. There was honestly a few kids under 10 watching this movie. Why? If I saw this stuff when I was 10, I'd be traumatized for life because this movie doesn't hold back, and I was actually surprised they went to a few places they did here. Darren Lynn Bousman directs this movie, and he directed a few of the other Saw movies, and he's not my favorite director, even though I do really like Saw 2, but I actually found his direction here to be more restrained. This movie didn't have that crazy, hyperkinetic feel of the other Saw movies. It felt a lot more grounded, and the fact that you can watch his other Saw movies and watch this one and they feel like two totally different movies, I gotta give the man props for that. I really think he did a good job of helping give this movie a unique voice. My biggest mixed element though is definitely Chris Rock, because I actually really love Chris Rock as an actor. He just has this energy to him in every role he's in, and I do like him for the most part in this movie. In fact, I've said it a billion times, I'll say it one more time. I think he helps give this movie its own unique identity because he's just such a big personality. And there's a few moments where you can just tell that he's doing his comedy bits.
He made $1 billion selling shrimp, and she still wouldn't fuck him.
Hey, eventually they got together.
Yeah, after she got AIDS.
And I found that they really worked and that they were really funny. However, there's other moments where he really has to act and he doesn't quite get there for me. There's a few emotional moments and he just doesn't quite get there, and there's definitely some other moments where he's a bit too big and too loud to the point where it does feel like overacting, but for the most part, I do like him in the main role. The other actors are perfectly fine. No one else really stands out. I like Samuel L. Jackson, but he was in this movie about as long as I predicted him to be in. He's not in it much. I actually think he was really underutilized. I would have liked to see further exploration of the dad and son relationship in this movie. And I guess it's time for me to start talking about my big negatives. And my number one big negative is, yes, I know it's not Tobin Bell returning in this movie, but the voice they used for Jigsaw, nobody's talking about. It was completely laughable. When the first guy's got his tongue all tied up and he's hanging there, and then we hear the Jigsaw voice, I almost burst out laughing. Oh my goodness. Like, listen to this.
Hello, Detective Boswick. I want to play a game. The 3 train is arriving in 2 minutes.
Like,
It is
come
up to you
on,
to
this
decide if
voice
this will
is
be your
so
final
goofy.
stop.
Like, that's not scary at all. That is unintentionally hilarious. On top of that, I also found the time that passed in this movie to be really confusing. Sometimes I felt like it was the end of the day, but then the day keeps going on and on and on, and I guess it wasn't the end of the day when I thought it was, or vice versa was the beginning of the day. Sometimes it's just like, okay, are we in the morning here? Are we in the afternoon? Are we in the evening? Because I really couldn't follow it at times. And I mentioned earlier that the traps were really gnarly and I really loved them here. But I will also say that I would have liked a few more trap sequences. I do think we were lacking a bit in that area. I would have liked to see more. But the ending is definitely when the movie falls apart. Like I said earlier, I saw the ending coming from a mile away, but the overall execution was just laughable. And some of the choices made and what ends up happening afterwards, I just didn't find to be satisfying in any way. I thought the ending of this movie was as underwhelming as they get. It was a complete letdown to what was set up for the rest of the movie. That all said, I still enjoyed this movie. I was entertained the entire time. I do think this feels different from the other Saw movies, and there's lots of different aspects here that I really liked. There's an interesting backstory. There's an engaging mystery. It's got a big personality in the lead role, and it's definitely brutal and gross in moments. And so I feel like I got a bit of everything here. It might not have been as executed as perfectly as I would have liked, but I still quite enjoyed this movie. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6.5 out of 10. Okay, Spiral from the Book of Saw. Did you like it, or did you think it spiraled out of control for you? Haha, yes! Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon. Gavin out.